Hi, welcome to your practice today. Well, if all goes as planned, I hope to have 2 more videos up before we get to Christmas. That way, if you would like to, you have some tools in your tool belt to help you get yourself through the holidays, something new and something enjoyable to practice. Today's sequence is a nice and easy flow, so we're not going to work very hard. It's mostly about easing our anxiety, especially as we get into full swing of the holiday season. You are waiting for packages, trying to find the right gifts, trying to get your schedules in order, trying to attend every function that you possibly can while staying healthy and just keeping the family all together. And it's a lot to manage. So, if you have any time at all for some peace to yourself, I welcome you to take this practice and join me for the next 30-40 minutes. So, if you have it, you could have a blanket for this practice to use it to sit on, or you could also use a block. You may want that later on, or using a wall. At the end, we will do a legs up the wall pose, but you don't have to have the wall. As you'll see, I don't have one accessible to me, so I won't be using one myself. Go ahead and come and take a seat right into the center of your mat. I'm going to set up the blanket just so I have a softer cushion to use today. And we'll just come into our Sukhasana, our easy pose. Legs are crossed, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And we'll start the practice with alternate nostril breathing, or Nadi Shodhana. So the legs are crossed gently. You're in a nice comfortable seat, sitting up tall. The back is straight and the crown is lifted. From here, to prep for this pranayama practice, we'll use the thumb and the ring finger. And the thumb will go gently to the outside of the right nostril. The ring finger will rest gently on the outside of the left nostril, like so. Now, what do we do with the other 3 fingers? The index and the middle finger can rest gently onto the forehead like this. If you would rather have them curled and tucked under, you can do that as well. I prefer to have them just resting gently in between the brows, right at the third eye. As I practice my Nadi Shodhana, I use that as a focal point. Even as my eyes are closed, I look internally and up towards in between the brows. And I find that a wonderful place to rest and just to focus as I'm practicing my alternate nostril breathing. And then the pinky can just hang out there, resting on your cheek or whatever is comfortable. So go ahead and take a few normal breaths. Allow the eyes to start to close. Rest them gently. Start to feel the belly fill as you inhale, and empty it out completely on the exhale. Continue to breathe normally and take your right hand, and we'll take that thumb to the outside of the right nostril, ring finger to the outside of the left nostril, and your index and middle finger come in between the brows. Take another inhale here normally and exhale. On the next inhale, we'll close the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Pause for a moment at the top of the breath. Take the ring finger and close the left nostril as you exhale through the right. Inhale through the right side. Pausing at the top, close that right nostril and open the left as you exhale. Inhale here on the left side. Pause as you close the left nostril, open the right, and then exhale. Inhale. Pause. Close the right, open the left, and exhale. Your internal gaze coming to the third eye. Inhale. Pause at the top as you close the nostril and then exhale through the right side. Inhale. Pause and switch. We'll continue for about 5 more rounds. You can continue at your own pace. Using your breath as a guide to keep your focus. To calm your anxiety. Balance out your nervous system as we move from the left to the right. There will be a difference between the left and the right side, as there usually is when we breathe. We'll end on the right side. On an exhale, so wherever you're at, we'll meet on that side. Exhale fully. Allow the hand to come back to the knee and start to blink the eyes open. Such a wonderful pranayama to take at any time throughout your day, just to reset and to, like I said, bring balance between the nervous system and help to even out the sides of the sinuses as well. You may notice a big difference between right and left as far as how easy it is to breathe in and out through one nostril versus the other. And it can change from day to day, even within a couple of hours. With this practice, it just will help to even that out. I do understand it can be pretty hard in the seasons when we do have colds and that kind of stuff going on, but still, if you can just take the time and give that time to yourself, it'll be a huge balance and benefit you can find in your practice in the end. So from here, we'll go ahead and come into a child's pose. If you want, you can continue to use your blanket or just set it off to the side. Using this practice today just to bring our anxiety and our nervousness and all the overwhelming things, just to bring them to a halt, even just for this short amount of time. In your child's pose, just allow the hips to sink back towards the heels. They don't need to reach all the way back, and if you'd like, you can use that blanket or a cushion to set it on top of the heels. Maybe give your hips a little spot to rest on. In your child's pose, the eyes are closed once more as you start to breathe in and out just through the nose. Maybe taking your ocean breath, feeling that slight restriction in the back of the throat as you breathe in and out, making the light sound of a wave in the back of your throat. From here, we'll just lift up maybe about 3 inches or so, staying back, push back in the hips, and thread that right arm underneath the left. We'll take a twist in the upper torso in our child's pose. And the left hand stays above the head as the right arm reaches under, and you just peek underneath that left armpit. A very gentle version of a twist here. Feeling a nice stretch along the upper back, through the back of the right shoulder. As we move through the practice today, with every inhale, you can picture yourself breathing in a white ball of energy. Taking in that glorious white light, and every exhale, feel that energy radiate out from the fingertips, through the toes, through the crown of the head. Feel your body warm in this light and radiate this energy through your practice today, and you can carry that with you as you go off your mat today. On the next inhale, go ahead and unwind. Come back and do a child's pose just for one breath. On the next inhale, lift up about 2 to 3 inches and thread that left arm underneath the right, and we'll twist the torso as we gaze underneath the right armpit. Maybe walk the right fingertips out a little further, actively reaching. You can make this as active or as peaceful as you want. Many of our poses today are kept small and inward. As we go through this holiday season, it feels like we're pulled in many places. We need to give a little bit of ourselves to everyone, or we feel obligated to give a piece of ourselves to everyone and everything. And it's time to return inward to yourself and to become whole. Kind of a rebuilding practice, so that when the time comes, you can be available to others. Very good. On the next exhale, unwind and come back to your child's pose. Arms reaching out above the head. Walk the fingertips out. Feel the back lengthen. And from here, we'll take a shoulder stretch, opening up the front side of the shoulders. If you can, take the hands into prayer pose, and then bring the hands back behind the head as you bend the elbows. Breathing here. And just feeling at peace in your body, in your space. Release the hands, coming through a child's pose. Keep the hips down. We'll just lift the head up slightly, and you're going to walk the hands in just so that they are alongside the knees. And now slightly bring the hips up just a little bit, and the crown of your head will come to the mat. And just lifting the hips will allow yourself to get the crown more easily to connect with the mat. From here, you can draw the hands back behind you, take a hold of the heels, and once more, we will lift the hips into a rabbit pose. Holding here. This amazing stretch for the upper back alongside the back of the shoulders. A great one to relieve any holiday tension. Most of us carry tension through our necks and our upper back. Big inhale here. Release, drop the hips back. We'll just relax that pose for a moment. Another inhale in. And on the exhale, lift the hips once more. Stretch it out. And release the hips back to the mat. Use your hands to push yourself upright, just so you come to a kneeling hero's pose. From here, we'll go ahead and come up to a tabletop, just enough to allow ourselves to tuck the toes. I'm going to move forward on my mat just a little bit so I'm more centered. Go ahead and tuck the toes, and we'll do a quick toe stretch here. If you have your block, you may want a block in front of you because it can be more difficult the more weight you lean back and put into your toes, coming all the way upright. So if you need to, have a block or something in front of you and just lean forward and still get the benefits of that toe stretch. So wherever you're at, either sitting on your heels or maybe leaning slightly forward with your block, we'll breathe here. Very good. From here, lean forward, place your hands onto the mat, and we'll step the feet out just a little bit wider than our hips as we sink our hips back and come into Malasana or your yogi squat. Again, your feet do not need to be all the way, your heels do not need to be all the way on the floor. You can stay lifted. You can be up on your toes like this. You can keep movement in your Malasana if that feels good to you this morning. Or if you prefer stillness and want to quiet the mind and the body, go ahead and come to stillness. Whatever feels good for you right now. We'll spend a moment in our Malasana. from Malasana, plant the hands down onto your mat, and we'll just lift the hips up and allow yourself to fold over the front of the body, coming into your Uttanasana or your standing forward fold. Bend the knees as deeply as you like. Maybe bend and straighten one knee than the other. Allow the head to hang. Maybe grab the elbows as I'm doing here, or if you prefer to have your fingertips resting on the mat, that's great too. Nice deep breath in. Now let it all go on the exhale. Just hanging out here in our forward fold. On the next inhale, we'll inhale up. We'll keep the hips low, coming into our chair pose or Utkatasana. Feet are still about hip width apart. And we are in a more active chair pose at this time. From chair, you take the right foot and cross it over the left leg. And we'll prepare for our eagle pose. I'm going to spin around to the front of the mat so you can see me a little bit more clearly. From chair, stepping that right foot over and across. If you would like to stay right here, you can. If you would like to take the bind, the full eagle legs, wrap the right foot around the left leg. The arms can come in front of you, and then the left arm will go and on top of the right. And either wrap the hands so that the palms are touching. If that is too much for you, you can also take the back of the hands together. From here, sink the hips down, raise the elbows slightly. And to release, first unwind the legs, unwind the hands, come up to your mountain pose. Hands come down through heart center in prayer pose. I'm going to turn back to face the top of my mat. Inhale the arms up. On the exhale, come back into chair pose. We'll take that eagle leg on the left side, this time stepping the left foot over the right, and either stepping and winding it once or twice for the full eagle leg position. For the arms, the right arm goes on top of the left. Maybe bring the palms together, keeping the hips low. Elbows are just slightly lifted, but the shoulders are still drawing down the back. To come out, first unravel the legs, then unwind the arms, straighten out the legs. Coming into your mountain pose, draw the hands back down through heart center. Coming back from where we came, we'll inhale up and exhale. Forward fold all the way down. We'll stay in the forward fold for a breath. From your forward fold, widen the feet out so they're just slightly greater than your hip distance apart. Lower those hips, returning back into our Malasana. Maybe feeling a little more open, a little more relaxed as we come into our yogi squat. Take your hands out in front of you And from here, allow your tail just to plant right onto the mat. Extend the legs out long for Dandasana or your staff pose. Note the weight distributed evenly between either side of the sit bones. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, bending from the hips into our Paschimottanasana or our seated forward fold. Coming as deep as you would like, folding all the way forward, maybe reaching for the feet. On the next inhale, come up just slightly. Lengthen from the crown to the tailbone and exhale, forward, fold back down, maybe getting a little bit more length. Maybe reaching the chest a little more closely to the top of the thighs. Inhale it back up. From here, take the soles of the feet to touch the mat. Maybe bring the hips in slightly, hands to the back of the thighs, and we'll start to roll down. Coming into a bridge pose. Feet are flat on the mat. Maybe your fingertips are just barely grazing the heels. From here, take an inhale. Exhale, start to peel the hips off the mat. Feeling the spine start to roll up and off. Maybe take a clasp of the hands underneath. Feeling the knees reach forward, activating that back line of the body. We're not squeezing so much through the buttocks as we are activating the back of the legs. One more inhale here, and on the exhale, release the clasp if you took one. Widen the shoulders behind the back. Make space for the spine as you roll back down. We'll take happy baby. Draw the feet in. Either take a grasp of the toes or reach for the outside of the right and the left foot. Draw the knees down and towards the mat, towards the inside of your armpits. The soles of the feet are facing the ceiling, almost like you're going to walk on the ceiling. And from here, we gently draw the feet back and down as we breathe. The back is flat onto the mat. And you can stay here in your happy baby if you find peace in this pose. Our next pose will be a legs up the wall pose. So you can stay here. You could find space on your wall if you have one. Or you can do as I will be doing and either staying on your mat and just simply lifting the legs up to the sky. Or you could take your block and from here, set the block underneath the hips and then lift the legs up to the sky. So however works for you, take a moment to get into your legs up on the wall pose. I'll give you a minute or two to do so. If you have difficulty in getting into your legs up against the actual wall, it's easiest if you come, let's say we'll come with the right hip facing the wall. I'll pretend the couch is my wall. The right hip would face the wall. You'll get as close as you can, so maybe within an inch. And from there, that's when you'll start to twist your body and then lift the legs up. So I'm not going to stay in this position because I'm halfway on, halfway off my mat board. That's not very comfy for me, but that's how you would get up against the wall as close as possible and feel the most support. So start sideways to the wall. I'm going to assume that you are in your legs up the wall position by now. And we'll take our few breaths here. Peacefully closing the eyes. Steady breath. Again, picturing that white light on the inhale. The energy entering every pore, every muscle, every synapse. And on the exhale, that white light radiant from the fingertips, from the crown all the way down to the toes. Radiating peace and comfort. If you are at your wall, you can slowly make your way down off the wall, perhaps returning to your mat. We'll take a Parshva Shavasana, which is just simply coming onto one side. So again, when we're in this time of feeling like we are owing something to everyone during the holiday season, let's take a moment for ourselves and just to return to our internal peace, to reset. It's okay to want to make this a wonderful holiday for all of your friends and your loved ones, your family. Make sure to keep yourself in mind as well. We'll stay in this side lying Shavasana for a few minutes. When we are so fraught with all of the to-do lists and the
things that we want to make happen during the holidays, to make our children smile, to make our families have the best time they possibly could have. It can be quite a emotional and physical and spiritual load for you to handle. When you take the time to reset and to allow yourself the peacefulness that should be a part of the season, it's easier to share that peace with your family and to be more present for them. To keep your thoughts in the present instead of always planning what's ahead or what's next. It's quite a challenge. Use this space and that time to recalibrate. If you are ready, you can go ahead and blink the eyes open. Use your hand, one or both of your hands, to push yourself up and come into a seated position. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. A nice, easy going flow, nothing too hard or complicated. We don't need our hard or complicated things right now, right before the holidays. So, hope you have the time to give yourself extra time this season to find some extra peace and balance from our home to yours. Have happy holidays. Bye.